We continue with our favorite Monday feature, IQP Reflections. I'm joined today by Amelia Harvey of the women's rowing team. Amelia, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Rusty.
Can you tell us about your IQP?
Yeah, so last B term, I went to Australia for my IQP, and we did what was called Ignite Minds promotion. As part of that, we made a series of marketing videos for a family daycare company over in Australia called Ignite Minds.
Great. What made you choose that location? I'm sure the weather didn't have anything to do with it.
The weather had a lot to do with it. It was so beautiful over there. I was between Australia and New Zealand. I really wanted to go somewhere far away that I probably wouldn't have another chance to go to, and somewhere I thought that would be a really cool and fun adventure, and it definitely was.
And it checked all those boxes?
Oh yeah.
So those are your two top choices. You find out you're going to Australia. How do you prepare?
Well, first I started packing really warm weather clothes, and then I finally checked the weather, and it turned out it wasn't going to be super hot where we were because we were on the southern end of Australia. So I ended up repacking a bit with mostly warm clothes, but a few sweaters and jeans as well. I even started looking at rowing clubs over in Australia because I really wanted to do that while I was there, and what gyms we would have, and we actually had gym access. And then our whole, like everyone in our IQP started looking at places we wanted to go to on weekends in Australia. So we did a lot of little weekend trips and traveling.
We'll get to that in a little bit. Tell us about ID 2050.
ID 2050. It was definitely a lot of work. And our sponsor was a new one. So it was their first time working with the WPI group. So our first few times meeting with them was more explaining what IQP was and what we would be, helping them with and what we could do. And then meeting with them, preparing, trying to learn what they expected from us and what they wanted to highlight in their company when we made these marketing videos for them, as well as learning how to film and create videos because we were a bunch of engineers doing marketing work. So it's definitely a lot to learn.
Okay, so you are off to Australia. You land. Is there a moment you remember getting off the plane or arriving at your residence or your first day? Is there a oh heck moment that you remember? Wow, I'm here.
It was when we landed and we were walking through the airport trying to find taxis. We actually got a little lost in the giant airport, and it was the moment of, oh my gosh, I am halfway across the country, or across the world, sorry, not the country. Yep. And just kind of shocking. First time being that far from home, and it was definitely a new experience.
But you settle in pretty quick. Tell us what a typical day is on your, or what a typical day was on your IQP.
Okay, so we typically woke up. Our IQP site, our sponsor, was about 40 minutes away by bus, and we hopped a couple different buses to get down there. So in the morning, we hopped on the buses. It was at Abbotsford Convent, which was a really beautiful old convent that they converted for all these businesses, including our sponsor. And we'd either work on our videos or our writing at our sponsor's site, or we would, after getting to our sponsor's site, we would go out to one of the family daycares that we were filming. And when we went out to those sites, it could have been more than an hour of traveling, and we would interview the educators as well as take videos of the little kids at their family daycares, and sometimes interview parents that had children at the daycares.
And then what was some of your best memories of, it sounds like you had that checklist of places you want to visit. So it sounds like you're going to have your actual working best memories and maybe your tourist best memories. Can you blend the two a little bit?
Sure. So I think my tourist best memory was when we went snorkeling in the Great Barrier Reef. We spent a weekend out on Magnetic Island, and one of those days we got on a charter company boat and we all went out and snorkeled. It was really beautiful.
You don't do that in Lake Quinsig, do you?
No, I don't think I want to know what's down there.
And then how about on the actual IQP?
Yeah, so one of my IQP best memories was when we went to a family daycare. The educator was named Rosalie. She spoke Spanish and English, so she actually taught the children she worked with Spanish. And we were filming her reading to the youngest child in Spanish, and I'm not fluent in Spanish, so I don't totally know how to say this right, but she asked the child, oh, what does the cow say? And this little girl goes, woo. That was adorable.
Perfect. Just overall, what you learn from your project?
I learned a lot about, like, how hard it is to make a good film. You know, it's not just sitting and filming someone talking. You got to think about angles and making sure they're, in the center of the frame. And we had to throw out a lot of some of the footage we got just because it didn't look appealing. And how much effort goes into editing videos and getting the right audio and interviewing.
Was that even on your radar screen when you were planning on going away? No?
No. We thought it would be, pretty straightforward, just get some pretty shots and some cute videos of kids playing, and we just didn't realize how hard that would be. We were expecting the kids playing to be hard because you can't
You
really
can't
control
script that.
kids when
Yeah,
they
yeah.
play.
Coach Shield would say you can't control rollers either, but that's a different story for another day. So would you have prepared that aspect a little differently, or is that just something you literally had to learn on the run?
I think it was something we had to learn on the run. We did do some of the trainings with the global office. I think I'm calling them the right one. They have a bunch of, preparatory trainings for IQP specifically, and a lot of that was, photography and, video, and it just, it wasn't enough when we're talking marketing videos. It was a
Now,
lot to kind of figure out. But one of our sponsors actually was a professional photographer, so she helped us out a lot with some of the more nitty-gritty technical stuff.
awesome. Do we see ourselves going back to visit that particular site at some point in our life, or is it on to the next adventure, or both?
I definitely want to go back to Australia. I don't know if it's my next adventure, but at some point, I want to go back there and spend more time traveling around because we could only really go out on the weekends because we're working during the week and you got to fly to all these places and go spend more time in some of the beautiful places we visited.
So needless to say, you're happy with your selection and you had a great experience on IQP, correct?
Oh yeah.
And
It was
not
a
that
lot of
you not that you needed further validation, but your grade comes and it's good news, right?
an A. It's an A. So it was great
Uh,
news.
Perfect. And you want to shout out your partners and your advisor?
Yeah, so one of my partners was Ethan DiRenzo and the other was Jonathan Coelho, and our advisors were Lorraine Higgins and Lindsay Davis.
Perfect. Well, Amelia, thank you for sharing your story with us, your IQP reflection. We're glad that you had a wonderful experience, and hopefully MQP is going well.
Thank you.
And thanks for sharing your stories with us.
Thank you.